Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, everyone? Alan Jouban here.
So, listen, we of course are going to talk about UFC 231, but Alan, folks may have seen on your Instagram, your elbow, you got some bone spurs removed, right? How's your elbow feeling?
Good. Yeah, I'm on the mend. I've got my but as you can see, I just kind of have it wrapped up or kind of compression sleeved. Mm-hmm. No more what do you call it? I didn't have the I had it hanging,
right,
or whatever. But no more of that. Get my stitches out tomorrow. Healing. I've been in pain in this elbow for 3 years now, and I couldn't completely bend my arm for 3 years. So to be pain free, plus with the neck surgery to have my full strength back finally. I'm excited for next year to see what happens.
Awesome. Well, it's crazy too, like to think how much you like Muay Thai and to think like all those times you're throwing that elbow, you're like, ow, ow, ow.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It was always hurting every fight. My elbow was swollen after. So we'll see what happens after this.
Nice. Well, we are trying to get our Christmas together here, so we have our tree. It's not decorated yet, but the holidays coming together. Went to a little Christmas party yesterday. So I don't know if you are decking out your house or what your holiday thing is going on. If your house got it there yet.
I see. We were just talking about that last night, Karyn, because we didn't do I feel bad, man. I feel like a Scrooge or something. We didn't decorate a single holiday. Thanksgiving, Halloween, right. Christmas. We didn't do a single one. We just. Grant, I'm going to Louisiana for Christmas, so I'm kind of just waiting to go to my parents' house, and they're gonna have everything set up. But still, like I didn't even put up a $20 tree or anything, and I feel a little like I need to do a little something after this.
I mean, you do have a little kid in the house.
I know, and maybe what? Let me tell you, I brought him to see Santa Claus, and he was not playing along. He was like, "That's not Santa Claus. That's not the guy. He's fake. That's a fake beard." And so like. Maybe I should be doing more festive stuff around the house. That way Cage won't be so tough on the fake Santa Clauses.
Yeah, I think so. And it's funny because we did decorate for Halloween. For Thanksgiving, I don't like overly decorate, but I do something, fall themed things or whatever. But Christmas, yeah, we definitely have to get some stuff. And really, honestly, I mean, I do like it, but it's for the kid. Like, the kid likes the house to be decorated.
Yeah.
She's the one who really made us kind of do more on Halloween and everything. But it is nice. I gotta admit, it is nice. So you should do something else.
No, it makes it feel like the holidays. You're right. I'm gonna go in the attic. I think part of it was like this is around the time when I started decorating, and I just had surgery on my arm, so my arm was in a sling, and I was like, yeah, we're going home for the holidays. But all right, after this conversation, we have confirmed it. I'm gonna go up in the attic. I'm gonna get at least some stalking, some lights. Get it going, get the holiday spirit going.
Very nice, very cool. Well, listen, obviously, UFC 231 was pretty great. You and I have both texted each other before the fight had gotten underway there, and we gave our picks for the main card, and we said that we were picking with our heads, and not with our hearts, right?
Yes.
And we both picked Max to win the fight, and we were right.
Yes,
I mean,
it's true.
And the thing is I'm not even going to say where my heart lies on that, because everybody knows how much I love some Max Holloway. But I thought they stopped it on time. Like, I'm glad they stopped it. I think Brian would have, and he said as much, would have died in there. Like, you would have never been able to get Brian Ortega to stop, So I'm glad that they did it for him. I didn't think it was going to turn around, and we always know, in fights, one punch can change everything. But I didn't think it was going to change for him, so I'm glad they stopped it when they did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I do think, if I remember correctly, it was one of Brian's best rounds, but he still was losing the round, still taking a lot of damage. He still wasn't able to complete the takedown. And like you said, we both picked with our heads, not our hearts. It was tough for me. I don't know, man. Brian's my boy. I got a lot of guys in the sport that I like, but Brian's my boy. But he's genuinely a good guy. So is Max. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. They're both good guys. But I know Brian personally. He's a good guy. It was hard to pick against him. But when I do these picks, like we're saying from an analyst point of view, from picking with the head, I think, okay, if my grandmother is saying, who should I put my
right?
I'm picking I'm saying this is the most definite return for money, and that's how I picked it. But it was tough. And what's funny is when I'm watching this fight, I think I went 5 for 5 on the main card. And when the main event came up, I go, you know what? I've picked right all night, but I could care less if I'm wrong on this one because I just want to see Bryant do well. I really wanted to see him do well. So that's why I don't normally like to bet on fights financially, because you look at fights a different way, because you think I need to get my money and you forget about the emotion of the sport.
Exactly. Well, that's why in the main event, I literally did that type of thing where gun to your head, who'd he pick? And everything leading up to this fight made me think it's impossible to pick against Max Holloway. What has Max Holloway shown me to make me pick against him? Basically nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's really what it came down to for me. He's been such a great champion. Anybody can do that to Jose Aldo the way he did twice. To me, was incredible. Just the run that he's had as a champion. And that doesn't take anything away from Brian because, there were moments and I feel like, it's easier said than done. Hey, take him down, Brian. But, Max has good takedown defense. But it is true that you don't really know what would have happened if the fight got to the ground and how things would have gone. But again, that's just a testament to how good Max is, that he kept the fight exactly where he wanted it. It really seemed to me that Max just dictated the entire fight from beginning to end. And that is that comfort of a champion. You know what I mean? That is that whole oh, really? I didn't like his clowning. I didn't like that because I liked Brian too much, and I didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't like the sort of taunting and that kind of thing. Even though I think Max is in general a good, respectful guy. I think he was feeling his swagger too, and I think coming into it, wasn't he the betting underdog? I'm sure he was like, oh, really? Oh, really? I know. So to me, so while I didn't love the clowning, I get it. And he was borderline. It was just enough. And I guess maybe he just knew something we didn't, that Brian's punches weren't going to hurt him or something, that he felt comfortable to do that so early on.
Yeah. As much as we just said, as much as a Brian Ortega fan as I am, I was okay with the clowning. I was okay with the clowning because I could see what he was doing there. In my mind, it wasn't past the borderline of disrespectful. Right. In my mind, what he was doing was he was getting his groove, and he would get his groove. He would land some punches. Brian would land one thing, and then right before Brian could acknowledge that he did good and move momentum forward, Max would do a thing, and he'd be like, all right, good, okay, nothing happened. I'm in my zone, and continue his momentum. So in my mind, it was more just kind of psychological, okay, you did something good, Brian, but I'm gonna take that away from you, showing my confidence. And it was just also, to me, in my mind, Max showing us his comfortability inside of the octagon. He's been in there so many times now. He's now one of the best pound for pound fighters, defended his throne so many times. He's just showing that, wherever the fight takes place, if he's winning or losing, going back or forwards, he's comfortable in there, and that's what makes him one of the best guys in the world.
Well, and that's the thing. That's just it. That's why Max is so fun to watch, right? It's the whole point is that he's the dude that sits there with Ricardo Lamas and points to the middle of the octagon or whatever. He's the right kind of crazy for me, and he's that mix of crazy and crazy talented and just crazy. I love everything about when he walks in there, you do feel that he owns that space. And at this point, I don't really know. I mean, I think Max kind of holds it as long as he wants in a way, right? Because I don't think Frankie would have beat the Max that we saw on Saturday night. I'm not sure who does right now. If Brian was the best hope and he had gone on such a great run and beaten, wonderful people, and I know Renato Moicano was on standby or whatever, but it's kind of hard for me to find an argument that somebody beats Max at 45 right now.
I agree. I mean, you look at the height that Max has, had that benefit. And a lot of fights, being the taller guy, the longer guy with reach. Now he goes against Max. Max is a tall guy for that weight class. Max is also a big man in the weight class. Time making weight. He makes the weight. Those extra couple of pounds when you're trying to take him down make a difference and keep him to the feet. And there's overall, I see that Max has polished his game. He found what he does well, and that it's punches and punches, it's movement, it's consistency, it's non-stop movement. I'll sprawl, I'll brawl, I'll stay in your face. I'll throw those 3, 4s, and 5s when you're throwing the 1s and 2s. Maybe they don't all have pop on them, but I'm going to stay in your face, wear down. He knows he comes in with a full gas tank, and his game that he plays, it's a better game than anybody else could play. When you look at the attributes of the taller fighter with a gas tank and that kind of punch output, that game The only way he's going to lose is if he would get caught or get taken down, and maybe somebody throws a slick submission on him. Yeah. But you saw that's not easy. And the guy for, I think he's only like a blue or purple belt, Karyn, but the guy is putting away. He's submitting fighters. Well, he submitted Cub Swanson, who's a long-time black belt. So he's really overall just very good. But I think the game that he plays is going to be hard to beat for a long time.
Yeah, and we talked about a super fight with Khabib, which I would pay to see. Like I think like we were just saying, Max has good takedown defense. I don't know if he'd be able to stuff every single one because obviously Khabib is so incredible at that. But Khabib would get touched up on the feet by Max with that reach advantage and just with how good of a striker he is, like you just said. Yeah. So I would find that a compelling opposites fight that I would definitely watch.
Yeah, no, I would. I like, you can take my money. I'm watching that. I would rather see Max get paired up with somebody, a rematch. I'm not a fan of rematches, but the only two rematches that make sense in my mind are very intriguing matches. You see Dustin Poirier, he's out today. He's a little bit irritated with the state of the division. Everything's being held up. Max has teased the idea of going back to 55. Dustin Poirier, or even more so, to be honest, Conor McGregor, because there was debate going back and forth after this fight. Is Max the greatest? Max, in his very humble opinion, pushed it away, and he gave it to Jose Aldo. He said Jose Aldo is the greatest, the GOAT. And maybe in a year or two's time, I will be the greatest, he said. Although I think a lot of us realize that Max probably is the greatest. Conor McGregor, the only thing wrong with this picture is Conor McGregor is the guy that has beaten Max Holloway. He has taken out Jose Aldo in a matter of seconds. So it throws a wrench in things. It throws a good argument that Conor wants to say, well, if he's the greatest and I took him out, who am I? But that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago when Max was just a kid. He was like 20 years old or something. He's gotten much, much better. So I would love to see either a catch weight or 40. I don't think Conor's going back down to 45, but either a catch weight or a 55 match between. I think first on my list would be a rematch with Conor, and second on my list might be a rematch with Dustin Poirier.
Cool. Well, I like those ideas. Something that was kind of funny, and I'm gonna do a major. I'm just gonna drop this name right here. Wade and I actually watched the whole main event with Jeremy Piven. I mean, you guys might know him from Entourage. Yeah. So randomly enough, because I had the night off and we wanted to go watch the fights, and we were thinking about going to your place. We were like, okay, that's a really far lift ride. You know what I mean? Because we were like, I think we're going to toss a couple back.
I was just throwing it out there.
Well, we love it. But so we just went to someplace close. And we're sitting there, it's between like the main event and the co-main event, and I see him come in, and I know him a little bit, so I was like, hey, Jeremy, and he turns around, he's like, okay, hey, just 1 second. He was going to, look for a friend or whatever. Anyway, comes back over, he's like, oh, I just got off, I just did a set at the Laugh Factory. He's like, I knew I wouldn't make it to where I was going. I'd missed the main event by now, so I just needed to stop into a bar, and so we're like, all right, cool. So he just sat down and watched the main event with us. He's a big Bryant Ortega fan. So was definitely pulling for T-City. He has nothing against Max, you know what I mean, but was really rooting for T-City. So it was funny because there's the three of us, me, Wade, and Jeremy, we're like way into this fight and like freaking out. And it was quite fun. He is a huge fight fan. If anybody ever like had seen him at the fights or thought about it or whatever, like he actually really, really, really is and knows a lot about it. So that was kind of fun. Like that made the main event like as it was already going to be great. And that just kind of made it a little bit of extra fun, just, watching it with him and like seeing his reaction and reacting all together, like, holy crap, like it was actually really kind of fun. So I just thought I'd drop that name right there.
That's fine. It's a good name drop right there. You're okay for doing that. I know he is a big fan. I remember he hosted the, the MMA Awards in Vegas. And T-City was there sitting front row and received a couple of awards. And I think I remember seeing him and Brian and Jeremy hanging out after and stuff. So I could see why he is a big Brian fan. I bet you guys were getting a lot of taps on the shoulders though, right? Between you being there, people recognizing TV, and then Jeremy being there during the fights happening. I bet you were getting a couple people looking with some phones, I bet, huh?
Yeah, you get some. Well, it's funny because before Jeremy got there, this guy, I had seen somebody like staring at me. And I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to, I'm just not going to whatever. And then finally the guy came over, but he's like, are you Karen Florian or something? I was like, wait, what? You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, no. But, the guy was really nice. Turns out he was from Kazakhstan, and he was there with some friends, and he's like, "Oh, I'm on a team," and he like found his, his team's Facebook page. He's like, "Oh, could you shoot a video for me?" And so then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "I think so," but meanwhile in my head, like you hear these stories of like people giving shout outs to a group, and then they find out that they're like this totally racist, group or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, maybe, and meanwhile Wade's like pulling up the page on his phone, like not like we can tell necessarily, but right away. But I was like, if there's just like a swastika or something, like a giveaway right away, maybe I'm not going to do this. You know what I mean? But
on the forehead.
Exactly. So that guy was really nice, and it was funny because you definitely get the looks, but then when I went to the ladies' room, then sometimes that's when people will actually talk to you. You know what I mean? So then you're in there, and they're like, "Oh my God, my friend was so excited!" So it was cool. It was nice, and it was fun to catch up with Jeremy. I hadn't seen him in a couple months and stuff, so it was nice. But that added a little extra fun to the main event, which was already great. But anyway, for Brian, he's going to leave to shoot a movie in January. The future is still really bright for him. I know that's not how you want to lose a fight. But again, like he showed so much heart. And again, we hear sometimes of these fights where people's stock goes up even if after a loss. Like, I don't think anybody likes Brian Ortega any less now. If anything, you're like, that guy's got the heart of a warrior. I feel like he's still on the rise. And at this point, Max, like you said, is cemented as one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I don't think I saw any negativity, which is on social media afterward towards Brian. Everybody pretty much applauded him for his heart. For his resilience, never giving up. Reported after that he had a broken nose and a broken thumb, possibly. You could see him kind of carrying that hand afterward, and I was wondering did a kick hit it in the forearm or what happened. I'm assuming he was just feeling the throbbing pain from the thumb, and then just having that nose, you could see it. I think it was the first or second round when that nose must have broken. It was just he was having trouble breathing, and he kept kind of messing with it, having to reset. Wipe his hands, wipe his nose. And so a lot of little things going on. You're getting touched up. You've never lost. You don't really know. When you've never lost, you kind of are always thinking, all right, like, how am I going to win it? How am I going to win it? You don't really know that, okay, this is because you've always found a way. And so Brian was probably trying to figure out, calculate in his head, what am I going to do to get him down? Is he going to offer a takedown? Am I going to catch him with one of these counter strikes? Meanwhile, he's dealing with the pain in his thumb, his nose getting touched up. To go 4 rounds like that, they seem to, get better as the rounds went. Nothing but heart. So nothing respect to Brian after this fight.
Amazing. And we, you and I were talking before we went on the air that Max set a few records here. So 290 significant strikes landed by Max. So he's actually now passed Michael Bisping and Frankie Edgar for the greatest number of significant strikes ever landed by a fighter in UFC history. Max has 1,627. Bisping had 1,567. Frankie had 1,463. So yeah, Maxie Baby is officially the man. And I guess the whole event had the most punches ever thrown, like in one single event. Just wow, just wow.
Michael Bisping, I'm sorry, my man. I mean, I know these records are they're dropping like flies, man. I mean, Cowboy took his most wins, and then now these. But look, records are made to be broken, as we know that, and then I mean, just to be on the list, some of the lists that Michael Bisping, now Max Holloway holds, number of wins, significant wins, finishes, strikes. Those are elite level lists.
For sure. And, Michael's a big Max fan, so I don't think he's going to mind there at all on that one. Listen, moving to the co-main event, both you and I, again, we were picking with our heads. If somebody said gun to your head, gun to my head, I went with the bullet. I just thought that, Valentina, and not even so much on the fact that she had beaten Joanna before in Muay Thai, because MMA is totally different. That woman is a machine. You know what I mean? We had gone to lunch with her the other day, and she's so cool. She's so friendly. But she's just a machine. She is a an actual real life martial artist who does nothing but dedicate to her craft. And you saw that in her technique, you see that in her skill, but also when it came down to the fight with Joanna, you could tell she's just so much stronger, just the way she was able to throw Joanna around. And I felt like it was going to be another one of those things where we've seen Joanna really pepper other girls and really touch them up a lot, but I just felt like there was going to be such a strength and a power advantage for Valentina that she was going to be able to hurt Joanna more than Joanna was ever going to be able to hurt her.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. These girls met midway. One coming up, one was coming down in weight, and it showed inside the octagon. And both of them have black belt. Let's just call it black belt level skill in striking, high level, as good as you can get. Super sharp, super crisp technique. It's just a different style. And stylistically, even if these girls were, I don't know what the weight differential was come fight time. Even if they were exactly on the weight, I just feel like the Bullet, her style is just, it's so clean. It's hard to find a lot of openings where with the good and so crisp, and she's probably, I want to say a little bit more open up in her variety technique, but it's just, I feel like Valentina, the Bullet, she's just so proficient at what she does. She's so good at it. She's always coming forward. You saw the back and forth with the spinning back fist in the fight. You can see the difference in the spinning back fist. Right. You know, Valentina is just she's got one of the best spinning back fists in the sport. I can't see it over. There's no show in it. There's no sign. It just comes out of nowhere. And Joanna kept trying to emulate it, but it just wasn't happening smoothly. And then when they did clash, the couple of extra pounds is helping her. And then also, as well, when you get to the ground, I felt like the Bullet had, you know, she's gonna have the stronger ground game, even though we knew it was going to be predominantly a stand-up fight. Yeah. But you take all that into the equation. Like you said, Valentina beaten her twice before in the past. That was Muay Thai, but knowing that you are a stronger striker in the past, and this would be predominantly a striking matchup, it's hard not to choose against her. Both girls, no one really took any serious damage. Yeah. Joanna seemed to be in good spirits after she said she wanted to maybe go back down in weight. She gave it a shot. But I could see Bullet being the champion for a long time, as Max Holloway might be in his division.
Yeah, that's just it. Is, you know, I'm watching that fight and I'm like, okay, Joanna is amazing, and she can't get her game off right now. You know what I mean? Like the whole time, to me, I just felt like in her head, it must have been that frustration of that conversation of like, you're just trying to get something going and you never really can put together a big combination to score points, or never, you know, every time Joanna would make any sort of forward advances or make any, you know, score any kind of points, you know what I mean? Valentina just comes back with more. She's so great at countering things. I would just feel like it just constantly felt to me that Joanna just never got a chance to, like, you know, you're playing double Dutch jump rope and you're waiting for your chance to jump in. You're like, I got this. As soon as I get in there, I'm going to tear this up. Okay, exactly. If I can just get in, I'm going to tear it. I can't get in. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how it felt to me. Totally agree with you. I'm watching it. I'm like, so who's beating Valentina?
Not happening. I mean, it's a short list at that weight division already, and I don't think you're gonna find anybody as polished as Joanna. So, who's gonna take that belt from her? I don't know. But you know what's interesting is both girls after the fight were kind of calling out other weight divisions. Right. You know, Joanna was saying go back down and fight for the belt again, and then Valentina was kind of saying she has unfinished business as well with Amanda. So who knows if being that middle division, if whoever's in the division is still going to try to jump up and down in it.
Yeah, it's funny to me too, because Valentina, like you were saying with her movement and everything, like she's so efficient. You know, there's no wasted energy. There's no wasted movement. Like everything is there for a very important reason. You know what I mean? You don't see her, you know, dancing around a lot and shaking it out like she does. She just kind of like a Terminator in there. She doesn't waste time or energy or anything. Like she's so efficient to me. I find that to be so impressive.
She very much reminds me of another. Like I said, I've called Valentina like one of the true martial artists, and another person who is another true martial artist. Excuse me, and Lyoto Machida, a guy that's, you know, very humble, very all about his art and his craft and respectful. And the similarities that I see in him though is Lyoto Machida finds a technique and he knows something that works, and then he does it thousands and thousands of times, and then he takes another technique that he does at a higher percentage and does it thousands and thousands of times, and then he takes these accumulations of these high percentage techniques and he reps all of them thousands of times, and that's what he uses in his fights, and that is success. She does the same thing. You see her training on the beach. She's had the same coach for a very long time, her same sparring partner and her sister, and they do the same drills over and over and over, and they become so good at them that it's hard to find little openings because she's not doing low percentage technique. Everything is high percentage technique that she's done 1,000 times. She knows how to set it up. She knows how to defend after, and that's why her game is solid.
Absolutely. And, you know, I do still think, though, and it might just be tougher on her mentally than physically, but, like, Joanna still beats so many people. That's the thing. Is like, yes. just because she was outmatched that day, it's like this is still an incredible fighter. And that's what, to me, also was just so incredible about that fight is knowing how good Joanna is and knowing that she just really couldn't get her game off. That just like shows you how great Valentina is. But still, I think, you know, Joanna is still just such a great fighter that if she does go back down, she's still going to have a lot of success. At the 25 division, you know, earlier in the fight card, Jessica I fought Caitlin Chukagian. You know, I was all right with that. And then there were some weird decisions on there that I was like, I don't know. But I know she was asking for a shot. I think she's got a long way to go before then. I did see some things people were talking, I think, about a Liz Carmouche, Valentina Shevchenko fight, which could be, you know, that I don't dislike that idea at all. Yeah. I have to kind of spend some more time, like you were saying, in the division. Like since it's newer, it's kind of hard to figure like which girls are going to go there and stay there, which ones are real 25ers. But I agree with you that I think Valentina is going to be a champ for a while.
Yeah. I love watching Jessica I really like her spirit in there, and she's a very pretty girl, and I've always rooted for her. But, you know, she's coming off of like 4 losses, quite a few losses in a row, and she just got 2 in a row. So I know how much it means because I've had 2 losses in a row before, and when you get that win again, it feels like it's been lifted off of your shoulder. So I'm very happy for her. But to come off of like 4 losses and to get 2 wins off of average UFC opponents, to then think that you're next in line for the title shot, it just shows that, you know, the division isn't quite there. I don't think she's quite ready. And to compare Jessica right now from her performance that we just saw against the performance that the Bullet put out, I don't think there's any comparison at all. I think the Bullet would have that fight easy. So I think I'd like to see a little more out of Jessica. Maybe 1 or 2, if not 2, more dominant victories before trying to get a shot at the title. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got to make fights. You can't have the belt sitting on the shelf collecting dust. And somebody there, you have to put somebody in the spot. And in the divisions that are smaller, you have to take somebody. So Jessica could be the person that is on that short list, but I just don't think she's personally ready to get there.
No, she's not ready, and if anything, to be honest with you, as much as people give her grief, Nico Montano did win the show. She was the inaugural champion, and should probably get a fight before some of these other people anyway. If you're really going by what, you know what I mean, what the standings did show before, and that was the woman who was crowned the champion first. So we know they were supposed to fight Shane Valentina.
Who
it didn't happen,
are you talking about?
I do know Valentina said she wants to be busy. She didn't really take a lot of damage in that. We know that this woman like lives and breathes martial arts, so she'll be ready to rock. I like to think that she'll be active. Very active in the future. Now I have to ask you about, I guess you were at home and maybe Cagey was there, and maybe Cage has heard you use colorful language before, but I used all the colorful language. I didn't say it out loud. Some of them I said out loud, but like muffled. During the Thiago Marreta Jimi Manuwa fight, I used all the words. All the words.
I love that song.
Some of them were holy, and I'm sorry. Some of them were just like, you know what I mean? Like, my mind was blown in that fight. I can't believe Jimi Manuwa's chin hung on as long as it did. Both you and I had picked Santos in that one. But Jimmy, in the past, has shown a chin that's given away a little sooner. And the fact that he made it through that first round and, like, got some licks off, I was like, this is insane. I totally love this fight. You know, it was a matter of time before Marreta got him. But I just, that fight, like, you don't usually see middleweights go at it, like, with a pace that fast. And
not like that.
I was blown away. I loved that fight. I freaking loved that fight.
You took the words out of my mouth, Karyn. I mean, yes. I don't want to repeat myself, but you know me. I love a strike fest. Yeah. And I always kind of say that, like, you know, fight of the years or fight of the nights and fights like that, they need to have a couple things, you know, back and forth or blood or this or that. But most importantly, to me, fight to get me on the edge of my seat is when it involves a lot of danger. And everything about this fight was dangerous. I mean, every strike being thrown had bad intentions. It was trying to put somebody's lights out. There wasn't any point fighting. There wasn't any counter stuff going on. You know, you take a look at the Elias Theodorou fight. Okay, he fought a very smart fight, but and a good fighter. But you could see Joe Rogan and the commentators thinking of dialogue to kind of improvise on what was happening. They're like, you know what, this isn't the guy, or he's not really trying to kill him, but it's smart. It's methodical. Right. He's breaking him down. He's making him miss, and it's true. It's true. That's when you have to really deep figure out what's happening. There was no digging deep in this fight. All we knew is these two men were trying to slay each other at all costs. The middleweight division or light heavyweight division, was it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, light heavyweight. Two big men going at it. I was on the edge of my seat, like you said. I was just drooling over this fight. I was tweeting about it. Loved it. Both men put it all on the line. I was kind of hoping they would get a bonus, to be honest. I was hoping they would get a fight of the night just because it's a pay-per-view card, and these guys come and open up the show with a fight like that. I mean, I was ordering it. If you were on the fence about ordering and you saw that fight, you were ordering that.
Absolutely. You know, I loved it, and you're right. It was at light heavyweight. I forgot. H.E.A.T has fought at middleweight before, and he's, you know, kind of calling out DC, kind of saying he's going to make a run for the title. And I mean, he's making a compelling argument. You know, he fought 5 times in 2018. He got 4 wins. He's good. So I think H.E.A.T, is a real threat there. And you know, it's tough for Jimi Manuwa because he's been near the top, and you know, it sucks. I guess maybe one time he got submitted, but like he has that style, right? It's knockout or get knocked out. That's what H.E.A.T fights like. That's how Jimi Manuwa fought, and I was sad to see him lose. I like the guy, but like that fight was badass. At least you went out like, if you're gonna go out, like you went out like the most legit badass, and like I said, he scored so many on Thaigo as well. Like it could have totally been Manuwa getting the win at several points during the first round.
It definitely could have gone the way, but you're right about Manuwa. You know, he's a guy that we know that his biggest strength and the biggest strength that he promotes about himself is his striking and knockout power. So when he gets taken out, it's kind of like, well, what do we do with this guy? Right. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I think they know a guy that's going to be making a lot of runs, but he's a guy you can always throw in there to test out how good an up-and-coming fighter is. Or if you just want a spectacular fight, like you want a great fight, give him another exciting fighter who's toe-to-toe with him, and you're going to get fireworks. We got it. I was happy with it. Like I said, I was kind of hoping Manuwa would have got a bonus on exciting fight, but the event was such a compelling back-and-forth battle that those men deserve the bonus as well.
How about Manuwa versus Khalil Roundtree?
Oh, my God, yes. But you know what? My man Khalil is coming off of a loss. Well, so is Manuwa. So I get it. I get what you're saying. But I kind of want my man Khalil Roundtree to get a little bit of a warm-up fight. But man, that would be another banger. I mean, and it's kind of a similar fight. You know, Khalil is a southpaw, as is Santos. And he's like an offensive striker type guy, a coming forward type striker more than like an elusive backup striker. So it presents another compelling fight.
Yeah, I just want my popcorn for that one. I just want to see him go crazy. Now, I want you mentioned Elias Theodorou. I didn't mean to like roll my eyes, but I just was in contrast to that fight. Yes, he fights in such a different style. You know, I don't want to say that was a Canada decision for the Canada guy. I thought it was real close. I thought it was really close, and I can't really get mad about it not going to Eryk or going to Elias. I just wish, and I like Elias's personality. The guy's fun on Twitter. There's a lot to like about him. I do just kind of wish he was a little bit more of an exciting fighter. You know what I mean? To match the nice personality, the other things going on. He does play it safer than I think you're never going to get the huge fan support behind that fighting style. I don't think, even if you're winning a lot. And I don't know, some people can't become I'm not trying to tell somebody to be reckless. You know what I mean? You want to win your fight, but I just don't know how far he'll go with that style.
No, I get it. I agree. He's a buddy of mine, and
he's a good dude.
I wish. Good dude. We follow each other. We met each other years ago in Vegas, and we follow each other on Instagram, and he does a lot of stuff, and so I like him. I'm happy for him. But I agree. I can't sugarcoat it. I'm a guy that I enjoy the grit and the war and and the warrior spirit in fighting the most. When that's not there, then I appreciate technique, or I appreciate the back and forth, or I appreciate the camaraderie, whatever's happening. But first and foremost, it's the battle, it's the war, and that's what I love. And you don't see that in his fights. You don't see the war mentality, the kill or be killed. It's a bit of a point fighting. It's very key to at bay with the kicks. And then when he gets in an uncomfortable position, he kind of punches the clinch. The clinch, and has very good knees. He has kind of odd flexibility. He throws these very high knees, and then when he breaks off of the clinch, he throws these kicks out of nowhere. I feel like watching his fights, I've been able to break him down because I'm against such high level guys, and you see he's got these things in his game that are very unorthodox, but he's very good at, and so he wins. But I agree, at the end of the day, he will have to slowly go from 15 to 14 to 13 to 12 to make his way up the division with that fighting style, because there's no way like Dana White or any of the matchmakers are going to say, well, let's promote this guy and throw him on a main event if you're getting that type of output. He's going to have to slowly chip away at it, which he might be fine with.
Right.
But spoken, smart guy, good-looking guy, does other stuff outside of the cage, but I'd like to see a little more ferocity out of him inside of the cage. But and to add to your point, some guys can't change that.
Right. You
were kind of saying they can't really flip the switch. It's going to be even more tough for him because he's at a camp where it's a very methodical type game plan. Being a TriStar, they are just fine with the point system. They know that points win fights, and I'm not talking negatively about it, but they are very more methodical and like, this is your game and this is how you win fights. Let's build on that. So I think with his fighting style, with his camp, we're not going to see a whole lot of changes in risk taking, but hopefully we see a little bit more implications of trying to finish the fights with some of these shots.
So he has Zahabi, but he might not have ferocity.
For it. I was like, where's she going with this? I know she's got a little wordplay game in her head right now.
Somewhere. All right, so listen, if you want ferocity, if you want fighting spirit, if you want go for broke style, Alan Jouban, how did you feel about Gunnar Nelson versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira?
Man. Wow. Yeah, that was an interesting fight, man, because I was very surprised. I'm trying to recall it correctly that Gunnar couldn't take Cowboy down. He didn't have the on the takedown, trying to take Cowboy down. But once he got him down, I was sitting there watching the fight with a couple of people, and I remember telling him, I go, okay, I know what Cowboy's thinking right now, because when me and Gunnar fought, he got in the mount with about 2.5 minutes into the round. 2.5 minutes ago, with a guy like Gunnar Nelson, who feels like an ape on top of you. Right. And it's just like the easy thing to do is give up your back. You're like, I don't want to take punches to the face. I don't want to get elbowed. Let me just give up my. But the little angel or the devil in your head is telling you, do not give up the back and give him the high percentage finish. Just sit here throughout the storm and have a chance at another round. And the only thing that Gunnar hit me with when we fought and he was in the mount was an elbow. The only thing he hit me with was an elbow, one elbow. That landed, Karyn, but it was a nasty one. And man, I think Cowboy ended up getting something like 20-something stitches in his head. I've never seen but that much blood come out in a short period of time. I mean, within the 10 seconds that he was cut before the cut in the fight was in, I saw a couple quarts just getting drained out of his head. He was tapping before the choke was fully set in, but a great nasty highlight finisher, Nelson.
Yeah, and I'm glad Gunnar's back. He's a fun guy to watch, except for when he was fighting you. But I do
Yeah.
like Gunnar. Yeah, I like him. I'm glad he's back.
Yeah.
In that fight, I actually had picked Cowboy only because Cowboy's been on a tear. And Cowboy is that guy who comes in with so much just so much joy, and he's just always loose, and he seems always so open to just go where the fight goes, and is talented obviously, and just goes for it. So I thought, with Gunnar coming off of a bit of a layoff, and Alex kind of having a lot of positive momentum, he could totally pull something off there. But Gunnar Nelson is obviously a very highly ranked fighter for a reason. But yeah, that blood was insane. Those pictures are crazy. And then you see the picture, I retweeted, my friend Anna sent it out. And Cowboy's there, you maybe saw it. He's getting stitched up, and he's got the biggest smile on his face. And there's this huge game. I was like, oh my God. And he's just like, hey, you win some, you lose some. I'll be back to fight another day tomorrow. Like, I find that guy very joyful, and I like his vibe. But great win for Gunnar. Again, I know you were saying when you fought him, they were thanking you for taking the fight because it's so hard for him to find an opponent. I think that's going to be hard again. And maybe that's the whole thing. Cowboy's the kind of guy like, yeah, I'll do it. But I do wonder, how many more people are going to be like, sure, I'll fight Gunnar.
Yeah, it's kind of like, he's not a guy that's going to trash talk or promote himself. He's very well known because of he's respected as a fighter. And also the Conor McGregor thing kind of elevated his status as well. But he's also not a guy that he's ranked 14 or something right now, 14 or 15 at this point. His rankings dropped because he hasn't been busy the last year or so. But still, if you're any ranked fighter, do you want to fight backwards and fight the number 14, 15 guy who's Gunnar Nelson? Like number 6 a year or two ago, or if you're a guy knocking on a door, do you want to fight Gunnar Nelson if you're right outside of the rank of the division, and you can fight maybe a Neil Magny or a Nelson? A lot of people would want to take a Neil Magny type. I don't know why. I'm sorry, Neil. I like you, but he's
always your default guy. Yeah,
I know. It's just I'm programmed that way. Neil's not the default guy because again, we say it all the time. Neil's not really like the specialist in any one, but good at everything.
Exactly.
Maybe that's good or bad. But Gunnar Nelson is a specialist on the ground. He's gorilla type strong. His striking is really underrated because he throws these right hands in a way that you don't even see him. Some of them were landing in that fight, one of them on me in our fight. So he's a tough guy to go against. His stock definitely rose from this fight. Have a more active 2019 next year.
Yep. Yeah. So all in all, I think it was pretty fun. I don't know if. Did we cover all the ones on the main card? I think so. I thought the feature prelim was Claudia and Nina, right? And that one was that was a good fight. Yeah. It was a close fight. That was another one I was worried because there was just going to be more like split decisions. You know what I mean? They just seemed very close to me. I'm okay with Nina getting the win. I don't think Gadelia was robbed. I don't think to me, I was like, okay. I didn't feel definitively. It did seem that there were certain times when Nina was definitely landing more, scoring more points, I guess, is kind of how I felt that fight went. I didn't really see a ton of damage and all that kind of stuff. It seemed a competitive fight to me. I was okay with that outcome, but I think, I know Claudia has a lot of fans that were probably pretty bummed out. But I was like, okay, I'm cool with that.
Well, to be honest, when the fight was over, I saw most of that fight, but I didn't really have a definitive answer of who won that fight either. But it was one of those fights where when they went to the decision, you could see the faces kind of tell the story right there. And Claudia looked a little bit disappointed in her performance, and Nina looked hopeful that she felt like she did enough to get the victory. So when they announced her as the victor, to me, it just made sense from the physical expression that they had on their face.
Yeah, and Nina's putting together a pretty good win streak. She's kind of, a lot of the other women in the division are a little chattier about calling for title shots and things like that. And maybe that's because, she's Amanda's, they're not married yet, but maybe her proximity to the champion teaches her, you don't have to always, maybe she just has a different kind of confidence. But Nina has, quietly been winning fights and getting better and better and really making a climb. So I'm excited to see what comes next for her. But yeah, it was a pretty good fight. It wasn't, I guess I actually was hoping for more, from those two, but I'm not mad at them. Sometimes a fight is just more of a technical thing. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. Did you
mad.
see?
No.
did you see when Porters asked Claudia Gadelha about Brian Ortega, and she started hitting her head? You see that? That was so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, maybe I read it wrong, but for me, that was confirmation. For me, that was confirmation of what went down in the Staples Center. But maybe I read it wrong. Maybe that was her thinking, "Oh my God, like, why do people keep asking me this or something?" But to me, I was like, "Dog, you Brian Ortega."
Yeah, well, because she said she would make babies with him and stuff, right? I mean,
there you go. That's, I guess. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
apparently that's what she said. Yeah, so she said she would. I don't know if she said she did, but so then that became a storyline, and it was funny actually because when we had lunch with Brian, I didn't ask him about her, but I said something. It's still really a fun interview. People should watch. But I said, Brian. I said, yeah. Do you know you're aware of your very strong female fan base, right? And he just like starts blushing like crazy and just starts like looking around like to see if anybody can save him. And he's just like, oh my God. It was funny. He's an endearing guy, a nice guy. Look, he and Claudia would make a lovely couple. But there's a long line. I think there's a long line of people hoping to date both of them. So
yeah. I think they would make beautiful grappling babies together if that ever happened.
Totally. Well, listen, we have UFC Milwaukee coming up this week. I'm going to Milwaukee on Thursday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm not really that ready for the cold, but I'm gonna be okay, I think. But the main event, the main event is Iaquinta versus Kevin Lee. It's a rematch from 2014. Iaquinta won the first one by decision. It was a 3-round fight. And they are running it back in the main event. So I've got interviews up with Iaquinta and Kevin Lee. And then also our buddy Bobby Green. Folks, So he's on the card as well. He's fighting Drakkar Close. But we have three new interviews up here from UFC Milwaukee. And, it's funny, Alan, one thing that they both said in 2014 is a long time ago. I'm sure you're a different fighter than you were, all those years ago. But it's funny, one thing that was interesting, they both said almost the exact same thing. Like Al was like, Kevin Lee is going to be so surprised when he sees the fighter that shows up on Saturday. Like, I'm so different than the first time. And he's also like, and if anybody thinks that the guy that fought Khabib is the guy that's fighting Kevin, like, that's totally, people are going to be so surprised and shocked. And then Kevin Lee's like, man, everybody's going to be blown away at what a different fighter I am now and how outrageous this performance is going to be. And it's going to be everything. I was like, okay, you're both telling me the same thing right now. So I actually do think it's going to be a pretty great fight. But, for Al was like, look, I was preparing for a fight. Yes, I was preparing for a fight. I wasn't preparing for Khabib. I was preparing for Paul Felder, totally different kind of guy. But, it's interesting in both of those interviews, we talk about, like, how Al fared against Khabib versus how Conor fared against Khabib. Kevin keeps calling out Khabib because he thinks he can out-wrestle him and it's a very interesting thing between those guys. I recommend people listen to those interviews because they all have a lot of commentary on the lightweight division and the Khabib and the Conor and the Tony Ferguson, all of that. So it's all very interesting. So I'm not going to make a prediction on that fight yet, but I promise you, Alan, that they promise it's going to be a good fight.
And they're both going to be much better than they looked in 2014.
Way better than last time.
That could be guaranteed. I mean, I'm torn on this one. I mean, I want to say my heart tells me that Lee is going to be the favorite, and that's who I would probably lean to go with. And we haven't seen the match up against Khabib. But when you look at Al, even Al was dominated by Khabib like everyone else. He wasn't finished like Conor McGregor, and I don't think, if I remember, he was as damaged as like an Edson Barboza and some of these other guys. He wasn't just mauled to a crisp. Right. He was just dominated in terms of the grappling department. So he was able to weather that storm when a lot of guys weren't. But I just feel when we talk about guys who are more evolved over the years, Lee's the guy that's impressed me a lot more over the years and how much better he's gotten.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. And Kevin addresses missing weight in the fight with Edson. He talks about the title fight with Tony, and he actually admits that when all this stuff was going on, that he lost some focus. He let some things get away with him, away from him rather. So he's made some adjustments. He's growing up. Like, it's crazy to think, because Kevin, I think now is still only 25 or something like that. Like, he's still
25,
really,
wow.
really, really young. And he's like, hey, listen, when you guys met me, I came in the UFC. I was like 21. I'm a different person now. I'm growing up. I'm maturing. So that is all true. He's still a young guy, but he still has that swagger. Like I like the Kevin Lee swagger. You know, I think some people think it's too much, but I like it. I find him entertaining to talk to. And same with Bobby Green. You know, Bobby Green's an interesting guy. He's not somebody that everybody knows. Yeah. I know, like, you know, you and I, like, if you're an LA person, he's from here, and a lot more people know him here. He fought in Strikeforce. He's tight with Nate Diaz and Gil Melendez and those guys. But he's got an interesting take on things. So it's funny, he thought Jakar, he's like, yeah, I thought Jakar and I were friends, and I thought he was my friend, but I turned down the fight, but he took it. So I guess I took it. You know, he's like, I thought I was not going to fight my friends, but apparently he didn't think that we were friends, so we're fighting, you know. So that was kind of interesting.
Funny how that worked.
Yeah.
No, I agree. When you said about Kevin Lee and Bobby Green, you know, some people don't love their style. I like it. I think they're good guys. It's fun. You could be a little braggadocious or yes, you know, proud of yourself or whatever you want to call it. But as long as you're not really, to me, spitting like negativity or taking and doing things in a personal manner, I'm fine with it. As long as it's like in a playful or a fun manner, or you're just promoting yourself. But it gets a little nasty, personal, negative, that I don't like your aura. But these guys do it in a way that it's just like they're just showing a little bit of swag, having a little bit of fun. I enjoy watching them both fight.
Very cool. Well, so listen, on Wednesday, it's our final UFC tonight of all time.
Wow.
Which sucks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're doing a retrospective. I'm not sure if we'll have, you know, Kevin and Al on the show yet. We do our production meetings on Tuesdays. We have a conference call, so I'll find out a little bit more about that. But folks should just know that they should tune into it. It's going to be me and Kenny in DC, and it is the final UFC tonight ever, according to what I know right now. I don't know.
Ever.
You know, what the future holds for everybody yet. And people will make their own announcements about things in their due time. And I don't know if UFC tonight is the kind of a property that ESPN is even interested in doing or not. I don't really know yet. But so it's going to be interesting. It's our final one. So hopefully people can tune in for that. But then on Thursday, you're doing UFC Now with me on Thursday, right? I think. We're
on there together, yeah. I think with Kenny Florian as well.
Right, because we're doing we're going to be recording the year-end stuff there too. And then I'll take off for Milwaukee. So a busy week, but it's going to be a fun week. And a sad, but it is going to be sad because actually Milwaukee is the very last UFC on Fox show too.
Yeah. Okay, it'll be an emotional week, a little bit ups and downs.
I know.
So your last UFC tonight on Wednesday,
yeah.
Our last UFC Now of the year on Thursday, and then you leave for the final card on Fox.
Yep.
Yeah, should be an interesting card. Take it all in and enjoy it.
I'm trying to take it all in because then, the very last thing we'll do for Fox is at UFC 232. You know, we'll be out in Vegas for that. So it's I'm trying to, you know, and it's funny because I don't cry a lot. I cry like twice a year. Mm-hmm. They've told you that before. So it'll be interesting though, because sometimes that stuff sneaks up on you and you're like doing the show and then you're reading the prompt. You're like, oh my God, this is the goodbye part. This is the goodbye. You know what I mean? And you want to just put that part off as long as you can. So I don't know. I don't know what will happen, but, if everybody didn't already know, like, I totally love Kenny and DC. Like, it has been such an incredible job there on UFC Tonight. So I will be very sad to say goodbye to it. But hopefully we've entertained you people over the years, and hopefully it's something that they can pick up as another property, because we really did have fun doing it.
Yeah, no, and you guys have. Like I said, I was a guy that watched Access TV for so many years, and it became a part of my culture, my routine, and UFC is then the same thing. It's always set up to record. It's something I always view, and it's the newspaper in the morning for your once news in MMA, and to not have that, it's going to be a little empty spot. Where are we going to get this information? The personalities, our weekly updates. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires after.
Yep, absolutely. Well, to make sure you don't miss anything, though, if you want to follow me, I'm Karyn Bryant on Twitter and on YouTube. That's where this podcast is if you're seeing it here, and you should hit subscribe because that's where I do a lot of interviews and stuff as well. They get up on YouTube on the Karyn Bryant channel often before they end up on MMAheat.com. Obviously, you can look for stuff there as well, but a lot of time they go up on YouTube first, so it's best off to subscribe. And on Instagram, I'm KB Heat. Where can they find you?
And across the board for everything, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Playlist is Unguarded.
Awesome. All right, Alan, you promised you were going to go put up some Christmas decorations.
I need to do that. Okay.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.